Napier Committee meeting for the 22nd of June 2023. Could we please be standing for the opening karakia? Righto, tari rua toro wha.
Te tau mai wahu, te tau mai Māori tū, kia tau ai te Māori tū, te Māori ora, ki te katoa, haumia, huia, tai ki e. That was the wrong one.
We should all roll off.
Oh, that was a little test for you.
Did we pass? Yeah.
Righto, just a reminder that this meeting is being recorded live and streamed on the council Facebook. Apologies, Councillor Crown, Mayor Wise, that's all over. Mover please, Councillor Mawson, second Councillor Taylor. All those in favour please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, just an introduction for Carolee Thompson from the Manukunuku o Te Iwi Committee, is now part of our Sustainable Napier Committee, so welcome, and we're looking forward to your input.
We won't get much from me today, but
That's fine.
When I first went on council, I was told to sit on my hands and breathe through my nose.
that sounds like good advice to me.
Yeah, that was from the Deputy Mayor in those days.
Not me.
Okay, is there any conflicts of interest? No conflicts of interest. No public forum. Announcements by the acting mayor or the deputy mayor?
No particular announcements through you, Mr Chair. I'd probably just draw councillors' attention to the fact that we have had the Future for Local Government report released with a series of recommendations that will be of interest, I know, to all elected members. So a Chief Executive who is currently on leave and I have discussed, and we will be making sure that there is a workshop to discuss and present those recommendations to council coming up. So just draw your attention to that, and perhaps if you have any questions in the meantime, you could forward those through, and that would help us form up that workshop. Thank you, Mr Chair.
Thank you. I have no announcements. Is the Chief Executive's there somewhere? Louise.
Kia ora. Kia ora tātou. Sorry, I'm currently suffering with COVID, but I am with you. And hopefully you've seen the various emails that I've circulated around for the Futures for Local Government reports and details of where you can get more information. And you may be able to attend the webinar, which is on next week, which I would certainly recommend that you do that. And as the Deputy Mayor has said, we will look at running a briefing once we're a little bit clearer on what next. Kia ora.
Thank you very much. You don't sound like you're over healthy, so you go back to bed. I have no announcements. Is there any notification of minor matters not on the agenda? Announcements by management?
No announcements.
Okay. Confirmation of Sustainable Napier minutes held on the 18th of May. Taken as true and correct. Over mover, Councillor Crystal and Councillor Terrier. All of those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. So we move on to agenda items. Number one is report on Napier water status for period 1 January to 31 May. And we have Enzi.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Councillor C and the public joining us on live stream. So I will take this report of the first item of the agenda as read. However, I would like to highlight a couple of things from the report. So obviously, as we have pointed out a couple of times before, from 1st of January 2023, we're not fully compliant with all the legislative requirements as set out in Tomara ROI documents. That is mainly because the secure bores status has been abolished, obviously, and our Taradale bores, which don't have UV treatment installed, are not protozoa and bacterial compliant. We have achieved, like in our compliance review for this period, we believe we have achieved full compliance with source and distribution rules. So everything is well on those sides. As you know, no risks have changed within the water supply. So we are in the same boat as we were before. It's just like that we are not technically fully compliant. And we have a plan in place in terms of LTP and building up to new water treatment plants by July 27, when will be the point where we will be able to demonstrate full compliance with all the requirements. The other thing that I would like to point out is on one of the previous council meetings, there was a question asked if we could get more detailed guidance from Tamara ROI in relation to disinfectant residual exemption application process. I have raised that with Tamara ROI and they have responded with a report, which is attached to my report. They have stated that they have received, to date, when I asked the question, they have received 8 applications. 2 of them have been processed and the outcome was negative for those applicants. Those were from Selwyn District Council and Waimakariri District Council, and those were applications lodged for rather small supplies, so less than 500 people. And Tamara ROI basically provided also the drafts or the final reports on their decision or their assessment of those supplies, which gives us a very valuable insight on how do they do assessment, what they're looking for. So they are saying like they are assessing various relevant factors arising under the Water Services Act, of course. The most obvious one are the scale, complexity, and risk profile of the supply. Also, the Treaty of Waitangi and its principles come into play here. Te mana o te wai, and consistency with the main purpose of the Water Services Act, which is ensure providing safe water. The biggest requirement I see here is their expectation that a residual exemption can only be granted if the decision maker is satisfied that the drinking water supplied by the supplier will comply with all other legislative requirements and the water safety plan on an ongoing basis. So if you apply for an exemption, they would expect you to be fully compliant with everything in place and your water safety plan, which is very hard to do, in my opinion. On a practical side of things, like the main shortcomings in those 2 examples that they have shared were water loss, uncertainty, insufficient backflow prevention, lack of multiple barriers, hygiene practices. Like, for instance, they want to see how they would undertake the work on the distribution system under positive pressure, because you don't want to allow cutting off the mains to do the repair if you have no chlorine inside, if that's practicable. They wanted to see more how the maintenance and the monitoring of the distribution system is undertaken, network renewals. They also pointed out lack of predetermined additional measures and controls that must be in place to manage the risks of not maintaining residual disinfectant. So there's quite a lot of it, and it's a very interesting read if you want to get into that. That's it from my side. Just another note from outside of this report, I'm happy to announce that we have managed to appoint a new position. So we are adding water compliance officer to my team, and she is starting next month, and it's going to be very valuable resource in terms of demonstrating compliance and doing more in the compliance field in regards to the drinking water. So, but I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
So do we have any questions? Deputy Mayor Osman.
Thank you through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, Anzi, for following up on that question. It is a really interesting read. You know, I think it is a shame that there isn't a set of clear standards and that it is left to that sort of grey area where really there will always be a reason to decline, is my reading of that. But one of my questions is, have you had an opportunity, I see the date on that letter is the 16th of May, and I think it was a couple of days later that Christchurch obviously blew up in the media, having had their exemption application declined, much to the dismay, I think, to their council. So have you had an opportunity to review that decision report?
No, I haven't. I haven't checked lately if the report has been shared on Tamara ROI website, but I can do that and I come back to you.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, could we request that as an action, if you wouldn't mind having a look at that? Because I think, you know, versus the Selwyn and the Waimakariri, I think it's probably most applicable to our distribution network, that larger city. If we could have your thoughts and report back on that at some stage as well, I think that would be valuable.
Yeah, that's no problem. I will try to obtain the report and share the findings on the next council meeting.
Yeah, hoping for more guidance in that report as well. So thank you.
So just if we get that report sent to the councillors and we look at trying to fit it into our next meeting as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Just a
Councillor.
question through you, Mr. Chair. Have we made an application yet for an exemption?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So we haven't been asked by the council to make such application for chlorine residual exemption. We have lodged a chlorine contact time exemption application, which is a different kettle of fish. So in that application, we wanted to exclude contact time to achieve bacterial compliance at our Taradale bores, which don't have UV treatment. If we were to succeed with that application, we would be able to demonstrate at least bacterial compliance at those bores. However, we have withdrawn that application because Tamara ROI advised looking at it, and the first assessment was that it's very unlikely that they would approve it, because again, we would have to be compliant with all other legislative requirements in drinking water space and our water safety plan, which is not the case. So, but no, we have never lodged an application for the disinfection residual exemption.
Any other questions? So do I have a mover for this officer's recommendation, please? Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Gregg. Would you like to speak on that?
No, just a really thorough report, and thank you for all the work that you've been doing on it.
Thank you.
Thank you for the report.
Any other comments? Okay, all those in favour of the recommendation, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Very good. Very good. And a bit of really good news amongst it. Right, our paper 2 is capital program delivery. Oh, he's there. Amy. Where do you go?
Yeah, Tamario. I'll take the report as read, but just draw your attention to a couple of points. So at 30 April, we're $4 million behind our capital budget. The budget has been revised since our last Sustainable Napier meeting. It was sitting at 66 and it's moved up to 79.5, and even subsequently I heard the other day has moved on to 85.1. So these changes in budget relate to funding coming in, so there's some better off funding, also some property purchases that council's undertaken, and also some additional funding coming in associated with the Joel Wharf. Looks like we're on target to hit about 50 million this year. That's how our current trajectory is tracking. So yeah, we are going to be a bit behind our budget by the end of the financial year. Officers are continuing to look at initiatives to improve our program delivery and also our financial forecasting. So we are still chipping away in that area. That's pretty much me, actually. Nice and quick today. Any questions?
Councillor Bogue.
Thank you. I've got a few specific questions about some of the items on the program update. One is Anderson Park. What is being added there to the playground?
So it's a new sort of stage. I think they're calling it a destination program. Specifically what it looks like, I can't tell you, swings and slides and stuff. But I can perhaps report back next time. Do you want to see like a picture?
I just wondered if it's an extension of the existing
Yes, it is,
playground.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, and yeah, I would quite like to see it.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. 'Cause
No, that's good. I can.
Great. And a couple more questions, if you don't mind. Sorry, Mr. Chair. The Douglas McLean footpath. Whereabouts on Douglas McLean is the new footpath?
It's down opposite the kindergarten, so just off. Just by the kindergarten there.
On the other side
Yeah.
of Riverbend, between Riverbend and Taradale.
Yeah, right up by the shops. Yeah.
Taradale and
Yeah.
Kennedy.
Yeah, there's been a few challenges with that project. We had hoped to start that last year actually, and then there was an opportunity to include some new water mains coming through there, and that sort of we've had a wee bit of a regroup, but they are pushing on to complete that new footpath, and there's a raised crossing going in there as well. So yeah, we did meet with the kindergarten last year to let them know, but yeah, we have been a wee bit slow to get that up and running.
And just last one, Mr. Chair, the West Shore to Ahuriri changes that are being made, I've noticed that by the pond there.
Yeah.
What is that exactly? Is that a bike path, or is there going to be traffic going on that part of the road?
No, my understanding is that all the traffic's going on the sort of eastern side of the road. Yeah, perhaps a wee bit similar to what's happened down Marine Parade to try and keep the traffic away from that particular area. That project is getting closer to finishing, so yeah, hopefully we can get that nailed.
Thanks.
That's actually part of the original Ahuriri master plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's part of it.
Just through the chair, I'm happy to report back to Councillor Bogue's question about the playground. I'm actually meeting with Executive Director of Community Services and on Friday, so I'm quite happy to report back to Councillor Bogue about that if you're happy with that, Jamie, just to save you extra work.
Oh, that's good.
No double handling,
Yeah.
So I'm finding out what's happening there.
Okay.
So you all sent a message
I'm
out?
quite happy to forward that on to you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor Brosnan.
Thank you. Jamie, I just had a question about that Anderson Park project as well.
Yep.
It had been discussed at Council's long-term plan, obviously that second stage, and my understanding at that time was we would have a working group similar to what we had with stage one that
Yep.
worked through the design.
Yep.
It was Councillor Taylor and myself at the time who sat on that stage one. But can I just suggest for consideration that perhaps Councillor Gregg with her portfolio of child-friendly city and perhaps Councillor Taylor for continuity, if the intention is still to create that working group, which I think is a good thing, to work through the design of what is a significant project, and I haven't asked either of them, but just as a suggestion, that we continue with what was planned in some sort of design working group, because there is value, I think, in elected members knowing what's happening there.
Yeah, we have had some discussions with an external consultant exist to try and progress that, but I must admit I'm a wee bit behind the eight ball on where that's at, but I'll
Thank you.
just leave it to Councillor Mawson.
While we're on that, Councillor Mawson, where's he sit in this? Because he's obviously...
Accessibility.
Yeah, accessibility.
So would you have him involved too in that committee? Or?
This could definitely be taken offline, but my thinking is that Councillor Mawson has a particular interest in the accessibility component of the changing space there, where he's involved in some of the playground equipment, so there's definitely a link in there, but perhaps Councillor Taylor and Councillor Mawson could discuss. Through you, Mr Chair, would it be all right if I ask my second question?
Yes.
Thank you. I note on the tender evaluation list there are a couple related to the civic building, and I think they have been in the tender evaluation stage for quite some time now, relating to the project management and the QS, I think from memory, if I find where in the agenda it was. Just, is there momentum in that? Is there any movement towards having that move out of tender evaluation into completion?
I'm just wondering if I can defer to my colleague over there.
Thank you.
Karen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I could give that update at the next committee, or I can do that now, if that's helpful.
Happy to take it at the next committee if that's most appropriate. Thank you. Thank you.
Councillor Crystal.
My one's just through you, Mr Chair, about the Puketiti road improvements, and you said it says it's on hold due to the suppliers wanted not being available. I know this project is going ahead in leaps and bounds at the moment up there, and the roading is quite a major part of getting that development done. So is that moving forward?
It is moving. I must admit, when I did see that little start to that heading there, I knew that was going to create a question. Yeah, so it is continuing to progress. There's sort of two separate parts of it, tranches to it. So there's the Puketiti Road all the way through to like Rotowhenua Road, right through to the Hastings District boundary. So there has been some initial work on that, and then there's the work associated with mission development. So definitely the mission side of it's progressing, and I know that the consultants have been involved with looking at some geotechnical stuff. We've had quite a number of consultants involved on the balance of it. I did try to catch up with the transportation lead just before I came to this meeting just to get the latest on that. But yeah, possibly I can follow up on that on the next meeting as well, just where that's at. But yeah, it's definitely progressing, and yeah, I wouldn't call it on hold, so yeah, that's an unfortunate comment, that one.
Yes, I know through the chair that they have consulted with the residents around Friars Road, because I have a friend that was telling me that on the weekend, so, and they were pretty happy about the plan, because it's quite a dangerous exit out of that onto the road there, so. Yeah.
No, that's good, and I can
So
follow
Russell
up on
can
that.
update us a little bit more on that.
I could probably save you some work too, Jamie. So the definitely staff working in with the Mission Hill development. We whilst as Jamie talked about, the full project is not going ahead. We are looking at the project definitely in and around where the mission is joining into our networks. So and there is we're working through some funding implications for that, but also some timing. We're trying to utilise some of their contractors to do some of the work to make that the timing of the project and the cost to be as efficient as possible. So there is it is moving along, and unfortunately those meetings were post the report writing. So yeah.
All right. Councillor Taylor.
Yes, through you, Mr Chair, just in relation to the Deputy Mayors in Anderson Park, I'm more than happy to remain involved, and I am involved in a presentation to the mayors and CEs next week on spaces and places, so it does fit very close together. Thank you.
I think we've got a clear direction on that one. Mr Brown.
Yeah, kia ora. The steps and ramps, I know that you've been facing some ground challenges, it says. Have we got an update on when we're looking to be opening that up to the public again?
Yeah, we have had a few challenges there. I know the team are chipping away at that. I was just trying to find that on our little list here. Steps and ramps, there we go. Yeah, they are saying middle of this year, which sounds like about now to me. Yeah, I can get an update on that from the PM on that. But yeah, I'm aware of a few challenges. There was some geotechnical issues out there where they had undertaken some geotechnical investigation. A lot of that ground is ground that's sort of just been pushed over the side of the hill. And when they had undertaken their geotechnical investigations, They had taken a sort of a probe, if you like, either side of an area that turned out to be some of the underlying limestone was lower than they anticipated. So when they went to drill to put the pile in for the new steps, it was just not good ground. So we've needed to go back and do some additional geotechnical investigations, and I think that slowed things up. I know they've got some signage up there to alert people just in case we did need to evacuate, and I know that they're following up with some Facebook notices about that as well.
And just a follow-up, if I may, across all of the steps that were damaged in those the November floods, is that the only one that's still out of action?
I'm not sure, sorry. I thought there was another one, I just can't recall if that was the case, but yep, I know that we had one of our guys go out and do some investigation and get some comms out about that, so I'm pretty confident that we've got that side of it covered, but yeah, whether there was another one affected, I can't tell you, sorry, but yeah, I can chase up on that.
Can you do a follow-up and let council know where it's at? Probably especially Hayley and myself.
Yep, I'll do that.
Yeah, I was just going to say we'll make sure that if there are other steps that are out of commission, that we'd make sure we clarify that in our comms going out to alert the public. Yeah. So.
Through you, Mr. Chair, it is of particular interest, this issue. I know it's been ongoing since the 2020 floods, a number of those steps. Could I request that we have a specific report as an update on those projects at some stage? Because I think it is of interest.
Yeah. Thank you. Jamie, I just got one question about the West Shore Playground, which is supposed to be opening on Sunday.
No.
I drove past it yesterday, and you must be going to work long hours.
No, so we've pushed that out, so it's the following Sunday. So hopefully those comms have gone out as well. So I think it's the 2nd of July now.
Okay.
So
That might be pushing it too, but...
yeah,
Yeah.
there is
Thank you.
a bit of average weather. Yeah, I'll check up on those comms as well.
Thank you. Any other questions? Do I have a mover for this? Councillor Mawson? Oh, yeah. Just add that report into the recommendation. Sorry. So you're still happy to move that? A seconder, please? Councillor Brown?
Oh, sorry. I had a couple of photos.
Oh, yeah.
Am I too late for those?
Yeah, too late for those. It's not a selfie, Greg.
We'll leave it as a mover and seconder, and then we'll just go through the photos, and if they're happy with it, we'll ask the big question.
There we go. Yeah, it's a wee bit washed out, that photo. But that's the War Memorial. And the last report I have that, they're underway with the floral clock there. The tiling of the reflection ponds is well advanced, also the paving for the walkways. And we're definitely on target for that opening on the 6th of August, I think it is. I see the report said finished this month, so that's possibly a wee bit challenging. I'd imagine it would flow into early next month.
Any questions on that as we go? No? Next one.
This is a wee bit of a random one, but it's just a pretty basic retaining wall. So following the November 2020 storms, we had quite a lot of slips on the hill, and this is just a little retaining wall that has been close to finished on Headfield Terrace. I've probably got another half a dozen underway. So at the last council meeting, Barbara Arnott and Jeremy Smith, I think it was, gave you guys a brief update. So yeah, we're underway on this project. So it's a joint project between NCC and the Art Deco Trust. Even though it's a small project, there's a few challenges in there. Obviously the heritage aspects. We've got some asbestos issues in the subfloor, just in the soil underneath. There used to be a lot of lagging from the heating pipes. Also got some seismic challenges. We even got a drain right under the building, so that's another challenge. So you were chipping away at that, and the next milestone for this project is the funding applications. So the ADT are going hard at getting those funding applications away this month and next month, and we're hoping to hear back from them probably October, November. So yeah, they'll be needing to fund half the project. Council's chipping in at 750k, and I think there was an expectation that there was another 750k coming from Art Deco Trust. So yeah, that's underway. I think it was mentioned that the project might finish sort of mid-24. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, just another wee bit of a random one. Dear old Parklands. So we've just finished our last stages in Area 3, or the last finished stages in Area 3, stages 8, 9 and 10. We've complicated the way we name things out there, so we have areas. So areas 1 and 2, that's sort of on the east side of Arutu Drive, they're finished. Area 3, sort of on the west side, that's pretty much finished. We've just got stages 11 and 12 to finish, and then we're into Area 4. So that's the big sort of paddock, if you like, that runs down through the old kiwi fruit farm, and also on the other side, those fields that we formed up all the way down to the substation. So there's about another 200 sections in there, and we're currently underway with our designs, and also just recently we're hoping to utilise some of the Cyclone Gabrielle silt, so we're trying to get 500,000 cube of that from the Regional Council. So that's a real challenge at the moment, because it's very fast paced. We need to get our consents in place, we need to get haul roads, all manner of things. So that's yeah, a few guys are working on that at the moment. Yeah, any questions on those?
All right. So are you happy with that as the mover? Yeah, and Hayley, with what we've added in?
Yeah. We just see the wording on the petition. Please. Yeah. I can. Yeah.
Just wondering, did you want to include some of the retaining wall stuff?
Yeah.
Information to be sent.
Yeah, I think it's slightly wider than that, and I'm trying to work out exactly sort of which angle. It could either be from a just a pedestrian access, and that's a level of service that we're not providing, or sort of an evacuation risk that we're not providing, or we could kind of look at it from what's still outstanding from the tidy up from the floods. So
Wouldn't if we get this report create any questions further on what you want to know? Because if it comes back and says they're all good, you don't need to know take it any further. So if we get the information and then go from there, is that the way?
Yeah, I intended it's kind of around closed or impacted access points, I suppose, is what I read the line in the report as. So I was kind of thinking something along the lines of council receive a status report to update on all closed or impacted access points on Mataruaho. Something along those lines, as a starting point.
Yeah, that's the starting point.
Agree,
It could create further.
You might have more questions or,
So are you happy with that?
yes.
Okay, any comments?
I'll just say another comprehensive report. It's good to see that sea of green and some things moving along. Yeah, thank you. And pictures.
Anyone else got any other comments? Okay, all those in favour of the officer's recommendation, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Item 3 is water services reform update, and Russell is going to take us through that.
Yes, thank you. Lauren was, came down poorly this week, so she was quite gutted to not be here to present. I'd like to take the report as read. A lot of the report reflects the presentation you had from Ian McSherry from DIA. We'd already written the report prior to Ian doing his presentation, so he sort of beat us to the there. But there are some updates that have come out. There was an update to the water services bill on Friday. We were hoping to get a verbal update from Lauren at this meeting, but what we will do is there are some other things coming up. We'll do some future reports and status updates to the committee, and but also we'll circulate any information through to the committee as we find and as we can advise the council. So I'm happy to take any questions.
So once again, we will be looking at updating council and bringing a paper back.
Correct, yeah.
At the next meeting.
Yeah. There's a number of changes happening at central government on this at this present moment. So there's just going to be a few pieces of information coming out. So, yeah.
Councillor McGrath.
Through the chair, the tranche 2 funding has been withdrawn. Is that correct? Is that how I read it?
Yeah.
Had we committed to any of that money?
No. Sorry.
Just tranche 1, and you're right, tranche 2 has that.
Yes.
So you'd have to, can you, through the speaker? So,
when we discuss tranche 1.
can we go through the speaker, sorry?
Sorry.
It's just
So it's
that
online?
people online can hear.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you, Bill.
Yes, when we.
On this week.
Yeah, kia ora koutou. When we discussed the tranche 1 funding, we, I believe it was the mayor that said specifically because of the political uncertainty regarding tranche 2 that we would only have that discussion based purely on what was definitely available at that time.
Councillor Crystal.
Through the chair, so do we obviously do submissions back on this, because I see they want to pass it before the election? How much time have we got? Obviously not very much to have anything go back. When does that have to all be in by?
I'll have to get back to you on that. That was, came out with the, last week, on Friday, so
okay.
I'll follow that up.
Okay.
Yeah. It does, the changes though do reflect our previous submissions to the, what central government is after, and so.
Acting Mayor Brosnan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did, along a similar line, sort of have a question in my own mind around the timeframes. I know we've seen a political commitment to passing this before Parliament rises, which I understand they don't have very many more sitting days. Do we have any certainty around whether the legislation, is there still that commitment at the government level to pass before the election? Are we aware?
That is my belief, yeah, from. It's definitely there than what I'm hearing from Wellington, yeah.
Keep us updated.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, do I have a mover for the officer's recommendation, please? Councillor Taylor, seconded by Councillor Tariha. Would you like to speak?
No, nothing to add.
Nothing further.
Okay, anyone else wish to speak? Okay, all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. I'll just close the meeting and a 5-minute break for the opening of future Napier Committee. Thank you.